Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Senate Finance. Good afternoon, Senate Finance. And to our guest, we're going to start our work this afternoon with a very brief bill hearing. We do have one bill before us for consideration. Colleagues, it should be on a green sheet in front of you. We're going to hear House Bill 797, which is a Montgomery County and Prince George's delegation bill, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission Collective Bargaining Agreement Implementation Dispute Arbitration. And I believe we have the chair of the Montgomery County delegation to present the bill. Good afternoon, Senator Kramer.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and thank you for that. Ben Kramer introducing House Bill 797. Pardon me, colleagues, as the chair indicated, this is a local Montgomery Prince George's County bill. And it is very similar to a bill you heard last week that deals with in-cycle negotiations during collective bargaining that would ensure that the same processes for in-cycle, normal in-cycle negotiations apply to out-of-cycle negotiations so that they're in the exact same posture. That is exactly what the bill does, Madam Chair. And with that, I would ask for a favorable report.
Move favorable. Second.
Okay, I was going to see if there are any questions, but seeing none, I have a motion and a second for a favorable in the interest of time and on this sine die. I don't see any questions or concerns. So all those in favor of this local bill, raise your hand. That bill receives a unanimous favorable report with 9 votes in the affirmative. Okay, David, and by the way, for those of you that were wondering, we do have a letter from both delegations. All right, thanks for asking. Yes. All right, now we'll move to the next bill I think David has for us.
Yes, it's House Bill 288. It's the cross file to Senator Kramer's 299, which requires certain size grocery stores and restaurants to have a defibrillator machine on the premises. The bill in front of you for voting is almost the same as the Senate bill, but they did add this, the House added a requirement that those who are required to get the AED register with MIMS, and also requires a report. You should be soon getting also a amendment from the House for concurrence on these amendments if you are favorable to the amendments the House put on the bill.
Second.
Okay, and the sponsor is nodding. So there's a motion and a second for a favorable on House Bill 288 as passed by the House. I see no questions. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No,
What's
this
the
is the bill as adopted by the House. One more time, all those in favor of House Bill 288 as before us, raise your hand. Okay, Senator Lamb, are you in or out? Okay, so that is 7. And those opposed, raise your hand. And that's 2. That bill receives a favorable report with a 7-2 vote.
And if you could, since time may be limited, and if you want to, don't have to come back here very often, you could pre-concur to the Senate House amendments to the Senate bill as it comes over.
Yes, the same bill.
The same bill. It would be Senate Bill 299, pre-concur to Senate bill to the House amendments to 299. Pre-concur.
Okay. All those in favor of concurring or using the vote by which 288 was passed to vote for 299, raise your hand. Okay, that is 7, and those opposed, 2. Okay, so that bill will receive the same vote as the bill comes across.
And one other pre-concurrence by request, you should be getting amendments to Senate Bill 516, which is the Senator Feldman's cannabis bill. So the request is to pre-concur to those amendments. The bill is in the same posture as the House bill, which is already on the governor's desk.
So yes, we passed the House version of the bill. So the motion is to conform or agree to the same posture
Yes.
for the Senate bill. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand.
Just voting for the bill or?
Yes.
It's
this
voting
is
for the concurrent, yeah, concurrent, yeah.
On the bill. Fair enough, fair enough. So one more time, those in favor of the bill as conformed to the posture that we passed, House Bill 556.
Yes,
556.
Correct.
So we're now conforming 516, Senate Bill 516 to House Bill 556. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. That is 7. Those opposed, that's 2. So that receives a favorable report with a 7-2 vote. Is that it for
That's it,
David?
yeah.
All right, we'll turn to Patrick.
I have a series of concurrences for the committee to consider. First is House Bill 37. This is the Stop the Spam Calls Act of 2023. Some committee action is required on this one to align the bill with the posture that the Senate bill has been approved in. So as you know, the Senate had amended the bill to exempt from it these non-commercial telephone solicitations for public opinion research, but the Senate voted to approve the Senate cross-file without the exemption. Sorry. So the Senate. Yes,
Can I just quickly ask?
yes.
Is this the House bill before us?
This is the House bill before us.
And so this would put it into the same posture
Correct.
as we just voted the Senate bill when we concurred with the House amendments.
Right.
On Friday, I believe.
And the action here is actually to move to recede so that it can be in the same posture.
In the same posture. Then, Madam Chair, I would offer a motion that we recede so that both bills are in the same posture.
Hey, I have a motion and a second. Senator Reedy.
I would say I'd like to vote against that, but then that means I'm voting against the bill again, right? I'm having problems. It's late. All right, never mind. Okay. I withdraw my question.
Okay, are there any additional questions or concerns? Seeing none, we have the vote before us to recede on the Senate position on the bill number
House
is
Bill 37.
House Bill 37. Seeing no further questions, those in favor of receding, raise your hand. Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you. Next bill.
The next bill is House Bill 374. This is the bill that establishes requirements and restrictions on pharmacy benefit managers during the pharmacy audit process. So you'll recall that the bill was, the Senate amended the House bill. It went over. They refused to concur, and so now it's back. And so it's our understanding that that if this committee refuses to recede, that the House will change its position and concur with the Senate amendments.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. We'll go to Senator Lamb.
So, and I appreciate that explanation. I think I had a chance to look at the bill a little bit more closely in the interim from when it's been going back and forth. I actually prefer the House version, but obviously it seems like folks want to move forward with receding. The main difference here, I think, and maybe Patrick, you can speak to this, is that the House version would include ERISA plans, which are a large segment of the health insurance market. The version that we're going to be receding to will carve out ERISA plans, which I think leaves a good number of insurance plans exempt from this. So that gives me some concern.
That's correct.
No, I think that is accurate, Senator, and I think a part of the discussion that we had both at the bill hearing and subsequent conversations was right now, everyone is exempt, right? And this bill is a start. While not the full position of the House, the Senate adopted the bill with this difference, and so that's what's before us. I don't know if there are any other questions or comments. Okay, I had a motion and a second for the Senate position on House Bill, is that 374?
374.
Okay, are there any further questions or comments? All those in favor of the Senate position, raise your hand. We are not receding in the Senate position. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those opposed, raise your hand. And that's 1. All right, so the motion before us was to maintain the Senate position on House Bill 374.
Which is to, our position is not carving out, is to carve out. risk,
Correct.
Which is a bad position. So I'm against our position. So I should vote against the motion to not receive.
If you are not wanting the vote that the Senate passed to stand, then you would vote against the motion.
Because I believe in
Yes.
equal justice under the law. So
Wow, okay, thank you. All right, so we're gonna do this one more time. Those in favor of the House position on Senate, I'm sorry, the Senate position, see, now you've got me confused. We're voting on the Senate position, maintaining the Senate position on House Bill 374. Raise your hands high. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those opposed, raise your hand, and that is 2. That bill, we will maintain the Senate position on House Bill 374. Okay.
We have a recorded vote. I want that recorded.
That I feel a little nervous by this right now. I'm just kidding. All right, we'll go to the next bill, Patrick.
So the next group of bills would be pre-concurrences. The first is a set of 5 local alcoholic beverages bills that have amendments that are expected to come over imminently. And all the amendments would put the House bills, the Senate bills in the same posture as the House bills that we've already passed out. So let me list the numbers.
Just a moment, if we could get the bill.
Sorry.
bills.
No, I thought he was done.
Doesn't matter the bills. Let's go.
No, I thought he was.
Yeah, no, we
Pretty
just
well
gonna
done.
have him tell us which 5 bills, and these bills are bills that we already adopted the House position on when the House bills came before us. Okay, so those bills are,
Senate Bill 393, it's a Carroll County bill. Senate Bill 589, it's a Baltimore City bill. Senate Bill 607, a Baltimore City bill. Senate Bill 654, a Hartford County bill. And Senate Bill 765, a Baltimore City bill.
take a look at those if you're interested.
They're all local bills.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second for a concurrence on Senate Bills 393, Senate Bill 589, Senate Bill 607, Senate Bill 654, and Senate Bill 765. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor of that motion, please raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous with a 10-0 vote.
And then one additional bill for consideration for pre-concurrence. And this is Senate Bill 530, which is the MAIF bill, the Maryland Automobile Insurance Fund Assessments Bill. If you'll recall, this is the bill that increases MAIF's share of uninsured motorist penalties collected by the Motor Vehicle Administration in fiscal 2024. It also alters the assessment collection process that occurs when MAIF experiences a significant operating loss by authorizing MAIF to access certain overpayment funds that have been on the books of MAIF since 1989, which was the last time there was an assessment to support MAIF. And so what the House amendments to Senate Bill 530 have done is increase MAIF's share of the uninsured motorist penalties by $2 million in fiscal 2024, instead of providing MAIF 20% of the collected penalties in that year. which would have been 9.9 million going to MAVE. So they've authorized a lower dollar amount of those penalties going to MAVE for that year. The second amendment would require MAVE to access the overpayment funds by July 1st, 2023.
Hey, I have a motion and a second for a favorable on the House amendments to Senate Bill 530. I don't see any questions. All those in favor of that have to
Ready to
check.
vote.
I see. We're gonna catch
Move
right up
favorable.
with you. We have a motion and a second for the House amendments on Senate Bill 530. All those in favor, raise your hand. That bill receives a unanimous favorable report as amended by the House.
I have one more.
Back to David. Thank you, Patrick.
One more, and this is actually not a pre, this is actually a real. This is House Bill 246. It's the cross file to Senator Bidle's bill, Senate Bill 322, which would allow restaurants or Class 4 limited winery licensees to also have a restaurant on a premises. You're already in conference on Senator Bidle's bill. This would be, you would probably want to take the same action here and choose not to recede, so you can go to conference on the House cross file. So,
And we had already named.
yes, you've already named conferees and they're working hard.
Okay, same posture. The item we have before us is taking the same position on House Bill 246 that we took on Senate Bill
322.
322. Are there any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move favorable.
Have a motion and a second to put House Bill 246 in the same posture as the other bill by that name and number that David just said. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. And that's unanimous. So we'll hold the position on that bill as well.
Mhm.
Thank you. Any, Madam Vice Chair?
Did you have the other bill for me? The one you said that we weren't gonna take it to a conference because they weren't going to, or is that, we just let that go?
You're talking about
The rocket,
loan?
the
We
li-
already vote. That was the first thing we.
Oh, was
voted
that-
Not to receive, right?
Well, the committee took action to not receive a name conferees on that bill at an earlier voting session.
Okay,
And just an update on the House's position is that they elected to
told me to shove it.
to go to conference and name conferees. But it's
Said it loudly.
it's
Okay,
the
thank you.
position of the House that they
That's fine.
prefer the bill clean.
That's fine. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? That was the mortgage loan originators bill that we maintained our position on. Okay, seeing no further business before us, I'll see you on the floor at 5 p.m. Meeting adjourned.